The problem that I think this allows us to put a fine point on is the following. In society, we've confused a lot of people to think that the opposite of liberal is conservative or Republican. And I think that's the cycle that drives the mind virus inside the mainstream media. The problem is the opposite of liberal is illiberal, okay? And what illiberal means is to be narrow-minded and unenlightened. It means to be puritanical. It means to be fundamentalist. And this is really what it allows us to see now. We have now had 6 years of data, case after case after case, where if you are woke, if you are a social justice warrior, if you have the right credentials that justify your upbringing, if you have institutional bona fides that come from your parents, you get to create the narrative and you get a hall pass. And everybody else basically is at the subject and the mercy of the mainstream media. And so if you don't kiss the ring and bow down to them, they will try to destroy you or run you out of town. But if you are one of them, they will give you a hall pass. And when it's time for them to change their mind in order to tell the truth, they won't do it. And so these types of grifts will continue, as Friedberg said, because there is no check and balance without a healthy, independent media. There is no way for all of us to actually know what's really going on. Guys, some person in the media could have asked the question and dug in deeper around the connections between Alameda and FTX for the last 24 months.
So could have diligence at a venture firm.
At no point could any person have asked these questions and found ex-employees and said, are there any unseemly connections here between FTX and Alameda? There was no disgruntled employee. I mean, every company has disgruntled employee whistleblowers. But here, where there was billions of dollars being made by tens of people, not a single person who felt on the outs said anything.
Well, he was also giving millions of dollars to press outlets.
Hold on. It's because the questions weren't asked, and then this kid paid hush money to the mainstream media.
Let me ask you a question of you guys. Do you think that it's the media's responsibility in this context, or do you think that there should have been a regulatory authority that had oversight of this business like there is for every bank and every trading operation in the United States? And every one of those businesses has a compliance officer and has regulators up the wazoo, making sure that customers are kept safe and protected. Or do we think that should offshore vehicles be allowed like this that allow people to operate?
It's a reasonable question, but there was a chicken and egg question. We were all standing around holding our hands while the CFTC and the SEC were fighting. That's not something that consumers can be expected to adjudicate. So yes, we should have legislation that clearly defines all of this, but there were enough parameters that created regulatory frameworks where a bunch of good actors did operate in them and are continuing to do so, like Coinbase.